Wow. That was amazing. Thank you, Jaime. Good morning. And buenos dias. And welcome to the First Unitarian Universalist Church of San Antonio. Our weekly worship is where we connect, share information, and inspiration. My name is Jan Realini, and I've been here since 1987. Remembering the 80s. And I'm here for a lot of reasons. I'm involved very much now with social justice. As someone who is privileged to be retired and have the time, this is what is calling me now. Our faith is all-inclusive, and all means all. We strive to enact a universal love that binds us in mutual care and affection, especially in our work for justice, for our planet and all of its people and creatures. We recognize that our ancestors came from many different places, many different homelands, and we acknowledge that we gather here in the homeland of the Coahuiltecan people. This is called Yanaguana traditionally. They have lived here for over 8,000 years and yet still struggle for rights over their sacred heritage sites. I'm honored and delighted this morning to introduce our guest speaker. This year, I'm serving as the chair of the board of the Texas Unitarian Universalist Justice Ministry. This is our UU statewide action network for social justice. And in this role, I have been privileged to work with the spectacular staff of TXUUJM, as we affectionately call it. TXUUJM spells TXUUJM. And as we connect and empower UU social justice seekers and congregations all over this huge state. Right now, our tired but persistent staff are at the Texas Capitol in Austin, and it's an incredibly busy Texas legislative session with still many things to be decided. As an organization, TXUUJM is small but mighty. Our staff and volunteers show up out of proportion to our numbers compared to other denominations, other religious people, especially to support the human rights of our LGBTQ+ siblings, immigrants, people of color, women, the poor, the hungry, those who are unhoused, anyone who is vulnerable and marginalized. This year, TXUUJM is blessed to have a wonderful, outstanding intern minister, Bis Thornton. Bis is here today to be our speaker, and he and she uses both he, him, and she, her pronouns, is a recent graduate of Austin Presbyterian Theological Seminary. As an artist and a preacher, she is passionate about the power of creative expression to bring about both justice and joy. As an example, Bis is the designer of the 2025 TXUUJM Legislative Action Day t-shirt that many of us wore at the Capitol. And I'll show you what that looks like. Thank you. Okay, right paper. Okay, our opening words will be from Bis.
Good morning, y'all. That's me, Bis. I do indeed use he and she pronouns. I am indeed the intern minister at TXUUJM, and I'm so happy to be here this morning. This is an incredibly beautiful sanctuary. It's lovely. a little commotion for the beautiful sanctuary. So it's good to see y'all this morning. Our opening words are "Justice is Our Prayer" by Rebecca Savage. We gather together today with sacred intention to declare that justice is our prayer. We affirm in covenant with the beloved community that is possible, not here, not quite yet. The seeds have been planted time and again, and we remember all those who went before us who made beloved community a dream that could be realized. Justice is our prayer. May our time of service together continue to water the budding trees of our diverse interdependence. May our time of worship give air and nourishment to the parts of our collective spirits that need to grow and thrive, that embrace equity as a known way of being. Justice is our prayer. We affirm in covenant with the beloved community that is possible. May it be so. Let us worship together. And now to light our chalice, I'd like to call up our chalice lighters, Zahavi Chai and Siloam Chai. Thank you. We light this chalice. Oh yeah, a little commotion for that. Yeah. Thanks, y'all. We light this chalice in the hopes that it will be our guide. Every day we journey into the unknown, into something uncertain, into a world that feels dangerous. And yet, somewhere, somehow, that which is most sacred calls us by our name. When we see this sacred flame, when we hear its crackling voice, may we be ready to say, "Here I am." Amen. Blessed be. Thank you. And now our opening hymn that we'll sing together is number 148, "Let Freedom Span Both East and West."
Thank you. I left out an important part of the greeting part. It's a matter of which page it was on. If you are new to us or visiting for the first time today, we welcome you to fill out a visitor's card. We'd love to get to know you and follow up with you. Wherever you are on your life's journey, we hope you'll find your place with us. Each Sunday, we greet one another so we might know who is journeying with us. Please take this moment to turn to one another and greet your travel companions.
I see what you mean. That was a...
Yeah, that was an important piece.
That's all right. I figure,
Okay.
And
then we're gonna bang the ball in a minute or two.
Okay.
And then I'll do the covenant.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I should go out with you. Should I not?
You can.
A couple people.
We are called as Unitarian Universalists to build the beloved community where all are welcome as blessings. Let's recite our covenant that articulates our promises and binds us together. Please read together. Love is the doctrine of this church. The quest of truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge and freedom, to serve humanity in fellowship, to the end that all souls shall grow into harmony with the divine. Thus do we covenant with each other. El amor es la doctrina de esta iglesia, su sacramento es la búsqueda de la verdad, y su oración es el servicio. Convivir en paz, buscar sabiduría en libertad, dar a la humanidad nuestro servicio fraternal para que todas las almas crezcan en armonía con la divinidad. Así pactamos el uno con el otro.
I knew my part was next, and I was like, don't cry while they play, because then you're not going to want to read what's next. Thank you, y'all. Now comes a time in the service for the stone ceremony. Stones, like candlelight, are timeless. They are solid, enduring, and grounding. Each stone we hold represents our individual strength, our shared foundation, and the lasting impact we have on one another. For the ceremony, we invite you to pick up a glass pebble, hold it, feel its surface, and say a prayer or reflection, and then release it into the water. If you like, take it as a keepsake. Now I'll read to y'all from the Community Book of Life. The first message says, today's flowers have been donated by Jim Knoll in honor of Jim and Polly Knoll's 34th anniversary. Yay! Next up we have, tomorrow is my wife Sherry Philibom's birthday. Please join me in wishing her a most splendid day from Roy Elsie. Yeah. The next one says, please visit the Social Justice Committee table after service to find out about all the Pride events we are participating in for Pride Month. Pride Month, yeah. And the last one, this is very sweet, also says the flowers today are in celebration of Jim and Polly's 34 plus years together. So I'll do the second one. Lovely. We hold each other in our hearts for those joys or sorrows too, which are too tender to share. Next up, I've got story wisdom. Is that enough time? Was that enough for reflection? Hi. I'm gonna sit down here. We can have a storybook together. Hi, I love your skirt.
Thank you.
It rules.
Thank you.
Hello. Y'all all look great today. Hi. Got a medal on? Dang. I wish I brought my medal. I don't have one. All right, today I'm going to share with y'all a book called I Am Human. It's a book of empathy by Susan Verde with art by Peter H. Reynolds. Today I want to talk with y'all about feeling connected to other people, and even just this book makes me feel connected to other people because my friend at First UU Church of Austin, Soul, let me borrow it. So even I feel like I'm taking my friend with me by reading y'all this book today. Also, I'm a little clumsy, so I'm going to do my best to hold a microphone and a book at the same time.
I can help by holding it.
You want to hold? Okay, sure. Do you want to hold the mic? How are we going to do that?
Wait.
Do you want to trade places? Yeah? Are you okay with that?
Yeah.
Okay. Y'all are on teamwork together today. Thank you so much. Wow, thank you. Hello. I feel like I don't need to point it outward. All right, I'm going to do my best to make sure we can all see this. This is I Am Human, a book of empathy. The big people can see it too. Can you see it? Okay. I was born, a miracle, one of billions, but unique. Very relatable. I was also born.
Everybody was.
Yeah,
Everyone
it's something we have in common. Yeah. I am human. I'm always learning. Yeah. I'm finding my way and choosing my path on this incredible journey. I have big dreams. I see possibility. Yeah.
But let's just say that.
I have endless curiosity. I make discoveries. I have a feeling of wonder. I am amazed by nature. Me too.
Everybody is.
That's why I keep
mom
looking.
is-
Yeah? That's why I keep looking through that window from up here. You can see the tops of the trees. It's very comforting. I have a playful side. I find joy in friendships. I am human. Yeah. Sometimes you repeat stuff, it makes it easier to remember. Hello. But being human means I am not perfect. I make mistakes. I can hurt others with my words, my actions, and even my silence, and I can be hurt too. There he is having some problems.
Now she has a new friend.
That's true.
Or she has a new friend. That's not BFF.
Yeah, it's hard to be left out. The BFF situation is complicated. I can be fearful of things I don't yet understand and timid to try something new. It's like on the top of a big thing. Pretty scary.
Dive in a pool.
You could.
I think that's a I would climb all the
What's
way
that?
back down. I think that's a diving board.
It looks like a diving board to me.
I would climb all the way back down the hill.
Probably would too. I have a heavy heart when I feel sadness. I am human. Okay? But then I remind myself that because I am human, I can make choices. Choices, pretty cool.
He looks like he's about to jump.
He does.
Is he?
What's gonna happen? I can move forward. He jumped, but he was safe. And then he found a flower. That's pretty cool.
I'm surprised how he didn't get T-bombed in the head.
Me too. The lesson of this book would not be, I think, to jump off of high places. I'm going to say that into the microphone to every parent. It's a metaphor. We're learning about metaphors. A poor choice can become a better choice with thoughtfulness. A bad day can become a great day with kindness. Probably. If you have the complicated BFF situation, right? Like,
I've had that with my family.
yeah, that's rough. I can act with compassion and lend a helping hand. Thank you so much. I can treat others with equality and be fair.
Hey, I'm helping with
You are, thank you. It's just like the book, it's coming real.
Wait a second. Is
You wanna
this
see
a
it better?
fortune teller book?
I guess so.
I guess it is.
I guess it is. I can choose not to fight, but instead to listen and find common ground. I can say,
That's what's going on inside story time.
I can say, I'm sorry, and ask for forgiveness.
That's what
Yeah, that's hard. I think this
saying
is a
I'm
very,
sorry is asking for forgiveness.
I guess it is. But it is hard, it's complicated. I feel like that's such the human journey too, is the complicatedness of I'm sorry. I am human, one of billions, but unique. Oh, I almost didn't show it. You've met him though, you know what he looks like.
Yeah. We totally met him in real life.
Well, here they are. I am not alone. I am connected to my friends, to my family, to the world. We are all humans together. All of the different faces. And even that is not as many people as there are. It's metaphorical.
There's a lot more people than what's on that.
Yes. Yeah. And I will keep trying to be the best version of me. I am full of hope. I am human.
Did he just randomly get wings
He
from
did.
a box?
He did. Which is pretty cool. If I could do that, I would. I like, what's that? I guess he's a bird. He's a bird with like a person's face. And now I've realized that that is the last line of the book. I am full of hope, I am human, and in the back is the author's note. He was a fairy. Yeah, at the end of the book. But he's still human. I don't want to get into the weeds with the metaphor. Thank you, y'all. Thank you so much for helping me. I really appreciate it a lot. I was really worried about having to hold the microphone and the book at the same time. So thank you a lot.
You're welcome. That would have been hard for me.
Thanks, y'all. Bye. Hope I got this in good. All right, cool. That was fun. Now I got more stories. In the land of Egypt, there is a river, And once upon a time, a woman put her son in that river to save his life. She wove a basket out of papyrus and made it watertight with bitumen and pitch, and then she put her son inside and set him into the water as his sister watched. Maybe you are familiar with this story, maybe not. If not, it's the story of Moses, as told in the book of Exodus, which is part of the Bible. As UUs, we have a lot of different relationships to the Bible as a sacred text, or as not at all. Some of us never think about it because it's totally irrelevant to our spiritual lives. Some of us associate it with pain, or loneliness, or abuse. Some of us hold it near and dear to our hearts as a holy text through which we might get a glimpse of the sacred. And some of us feel something else, or a mixture of all these things. And what a beautiful tradition we have where we have room for all of that and more. As for me, as your brother and sister in Unitarian and Universalism, I adore the Bible, and I hope that my love and dedication to this text as a primary aspect of my own spiritual life shines through. And also, at the Texas UU Justice Ministry, we do a lot of interfaith work for justice, and we've found that whatever our individual beliefs and experiences, it is valuable for us to be open, understanding, and at least somewhat fluent in the spiritual language of justice that other faiths use. So even if this doesn't do anything for you, I would like to invite you into a spiritual practice of curiosity and service of justice this morning, asking, I wonder what wisdom we might gain from this story about how our religious siblings within Unitarian Universalism and throughout the wider interfaith struggle for justice might understand the world. So the story of Moses is a story about many things. It's a story about what we owe to who and why. It's a story about belonging and not belonging and belonging again. It's a story about home and where home really is. But perhaps most of all, perhaps most famously, this is a story about freedom. When was the last time you felt free? Have you ever felt it? Would you know it if you did? As soon as I ask myself that question, I hear Nina Simone in my head singing, I wish I knew how it would feel to be free. So maybe we don't even know what freedom is, but maybe you have caught at least a glimpse, and maybe that baby in the basket saw a little of it too. Let me set the stage a little bit better. The book of Exodus tells it like this. Long ago in the land of Egypt, there once was a man named Joseph. He was a Hebrew man who lived in Egypt for a long time. Joseph gained the Pharaoh's trust by interpreting Pharaoh's dreams, and Joseph became a powerful man in Egypt, ushering in a time of great prosperity. But after he died, a new Pharaoh rose up, and he forgot all about Joseph. He no longer saw the Hebrew people as his countrymen, but rather as a dangerous foreign force living within Egypt. He despised and distrusted the Hebrew people, and so he ordered all the Egyptians to treat them with cruelty. He ordered the Hebrew midwives to kill any Hebrew boy that would be born, but the brave midwives secretly refused, and they let all of the babies live. Eventually, the Pharaoh noticed all the Hebrew boys running around being alive and all, and he became enraged. He demanded an explanation from these midwives, and they gave him one. They said, because the Hebrew women are not like the Egyptian women. They are vigorous and give birth before the midwife comes to them. I don't know what happened. Clever midwives. Unfortunately, then the Pharaoh ordered all the Egyptians to kill any baby Hebrew boy that they found. This sounds awful, and it sounds awful familiar to me. Those in power slicing up the population into good and bad, native and foreign, rightful owners of land and illegal criminal invaders, despite the fact that, as they say, no one is illegal on stolen land. Many of our so-called leaders may not have literally called upon us to murder children, but they seek to destroy all the social supports that allow children to survive and thrive. When schools are defunded and parents don't make a living wage and healthcare is unaffordable, inaccessible, and food assistance programs are whittled down to nothing, and still we send our children to school with fear in our hearts for their safety from gun violence, how is our world so different from Pharaoh's? And when I think of children who are marginalized by poverty, racism, transphobia, and more, I see it even more clearly. Some children are targeted more than others. As we said earlier, I am a graduate of Austin Presbyterian Theological Seminary, and at the seminary there is an annual conference called Hesed. It's organized by students of color, and it highlights voices of color in justice work around the country and around the world. There's always an online component, so if this interests you, this is my plug for the seminary that they are not paying me, but I highly recommend checking it out. It's usually in February or March. In 2023, though, the Hesed keynote speaker was the Reverend Dr. Stephen Ray, who is the president of Chicago Theological Seminary and the president of the Society for the Study of Black Religion. In his 2023 Hesed keynote address, the Reverend Dr. Ray talked about why marginalized children are targeted by hate groups. And when I heard him talk about it, I felt like I understood so much more about the world around me. He said that the hateful targeting of marginalized communities has two interrelated effects. It teaches children that the adults around them cannot protect them. And it teaches the adults that they cannot protect the children. This shatters communities emotionally, psychologically, spiritually. I felt the reality of this deep in my bones. As the Reverend Dr. Ray brought this illumination to my mind, he also brought grief to my heart. I thought of all the trans kids I had met throughout my life, how badly I wanted to protect them, how afraid I became for them. I thought of people mocking trans kids at press conferences and how I didn't know how to make them stop. I thought of all the trans kids trapped in abusive families and how trans adults have become painted as threatening interlopers into family lives. We can't get to each other. I can't protect them. And I thought of all the stories I've heard during the legislature this year, stories of trans kids and immigrant kids who are being especially targeted right now. And I imagined how this might play out all across the world, all across time. And I wondered at the depth of pain created by this tactic. Children separated from parents in boarding schools, concentration camps, conversion therapy camps, plantations, factories, detention centers. More broadly, we learn this same lesson again and again, watching others in our communities of any age being struck down with the violence of the powerful. We learn, I cannot protect you, you cannot protect me. I see the world of the Pharaoh here and now, not so far away in time and space. But I also see the midwives in this story all around me. I see people learning to protect the vulnerable. I see people refusing to do the violence being demanded of them. Maybe they tell a couple of cheeky lies to Pharaoh in the process. They give birth too fast, we got there too late. But if the long arm of the law comes to us, let us remember this story and proceed to be even wiser than the wise midwives, and remember the ancient and sacred practice of shut the heck up and call a lawyer. Please. This is the world of the Pharaoh that makes that joke work, right? This is the world that baby Moses was born into. Can you believe we're this far in and we haven't even talked about Moses yet? Here comes the next part of the story. We're going to get to Moses. We're going to get there. 40 years in the desert, we will reach Moses. That works, right? Okay. I'm going to get distracted by the bit. Long ago, in the land of Egypt, a baby boy was born into that world where the Pharaoh wanted him dead. And so his mother hid him for 3 months, his cries filling her with terror until she could hide him no longer. She wove together that basket and made it waterproof and sent her baby off in the river, while his older sister kept an eagle-eyed watch on him the whole way. I'm not sure if the baby had a name yet, but his sister did, and her name was Miriam, and she grew up to be a prophet herself. In fact, maybe she already was one in her own way. Just as the baby in the basket was flowing down the river, the daughter of the Pharaoh went into the river to bathe, where she discovered a baby inside of a basket. Naturally, as you might expect, he was crying. And naturally, as you might hope, she took pity on him, saying, "He must be one of the Hebrews' children." Just then, brave little Miriam ran up to her and said, very helpfully, "Shall I go and get you a nurse from the Hebrew women to nurse this child for you?" I would be so helpful and so happy to do that. And the Pharaoh's daughter said yes, and so Miriam took her baby brother right back to their mother, who was able to raise him. She no longer feared his crying at night. Perhaps Miriam studied under the midwives. She learned how to speak cleverly to power, but she also learned not to believe this lie of Pharaoh. She did not think, "I cannot protect you, you cannot protect me." She believed, "I can protect you." So she followed her brother and saved him. Her faith made her brave. So, thanks to his sister, Moses grew up. The Egyptian world of the powerful saw him as the son of the Pharaoh's daughter, but her family knew the truth. He was their son. But the truth was complicated. He was given an Egyptian name by the Pharaoh's daughter, and he seems to have grown up ignorant of the suffering of his people. He saw this suffering for the first time as an adult, and it was a great shock to him. He was overwhelmed by the pain and the indignity of it all. It happened like this. Moses ran across an Egyptian man beating a Hebrew man, and Moses murdered the Egyptian and hid his body in the sand. Once the Pharaoh discovered what Moses had done, Moses feared for his life, and he fled to a land called Midian. There in Midian, Moses met Jethro, which is where that name comes from, the priest of Midian, and Moses married one of Jethro's 7 daughters, who was named Zipporah, and they had a son. Moses lived in Midian for many, many years, where he tended to Jethro's sheep out in the wilderness. I don't know what Moses was feeling while he was out there in Midian, but I wonder what this was like. Faced with the overwhelming suffering of his own people, he murdered someone and then fled the country. I wonder what his childhood taught him. I wonder if he wasn't able to learn from the midwives like his sister Miriam did, because he had to pretend to be an Egyptian, or because he couldn't openly be a Hebrew person like the rest of his family. I know that my own transness draws me to certain metaphors, but they are mine. I wonder if this childhood taught him isolation. I wonder if it taught him to believe the lie of Pharaoh's violence. I cannot protect you. You cannot protect me. I wonder if that's why he ran away and stayed away for so long. And one day, long ago, now in the land of Midian, Moses brought Jethro's flock beyond the wilderness to Horeb, the mountain of God. There, beyond the wilderness, far from any place he had ever called home, he saw a fire. Imagine you are a shepherd charged with the care of your father-in-law's sheep. They go this way and that in search of food, in search of land. You keep them from predators and from dangerous cliffs. You have felt drawn towards a great mountain beyond the boundaries of any place you have ever traveled with these sheep before, perhaps much further than you've ever been in your life. Here with these vulnerable animals who are under your care, far from familiar shelter, far from any person you know, and without any way to contact them. You see a fire, no people. Will it blaze out of control? Will it destroy this wilderness? Will it eat the shrubs and the sheep and all the wildlife here in this mountain? Will it spread from plant to plant until there is nothing left on earth at all? In your fear, you stare at the fire and you see it. It consumes nothing at all. It's flashing out from a bush, but the bush is not consumed. It remains. How strange. Moses felt that he had to get a closer look. And as he turned his eyes toward the flame, the voice of God came out of the bush and shouted his name, Moses, Moses. And Moses replied, as countless prophets before and since have replied, saying, Here I am. And there in the land of Midian, in the wilderness beyond the wilderness, God spoke to Moses and sent him back to Egypt to free his people. Moses was scared, but God talked him through it. Finally, he caught up to his older sister who saved him all those years ago. Finally, his faith made him brave. But how did that happen? How did his faith finally make him brave? What did God tell him? Well, when Moses felt scared and uncertain, God had to talk Moses through a lot of different fears. And God had answers to all of them. What a know-it-all. I guess you get to be if you're God. But I want to tell you the part of that conversation that I'm always most struck by. The midwives and Miriam knew how to speak. They were clever. They were effective. Moses was not. When God tells him to go back to his people and tell them all that God has told him, Moses says, Oh, my Lord, I have never been eloquent, neither in the past nor even now that you have spoken to your servant, but I am slow of speech and slow of tongue. God tells him, basically, don't worry about it. I make everyone talk anyway, so I'll just make you talk good. Thanks, God. But Moses really insists, which I feel that. He says, Oh, my Lord, please send someone else. Been there. And God in the story does get mad at him for a second, but here's the important part. God says, after being mad, okay, well, what of your brother Aaron the Levite? I know that he can speak fluently. Even now he is coming out to meet you, and when he sees you, his heart will be glad. You shall speak to him and put the words in his mouth, and I will be with your mouth and with his mouth and will teach you what you shall do. So in his fear, Moses still believed he was alone. It made it impossible for him to do what he had to do. God felt frustrated, but then God sent him what he needed, another person. And this is how Moses learns to disbelieve the lie of Pharaoh's world. This is how Moses begins to believe, I can protect you, you can protect me. This is how his faith finally made him brave. We have been living in a frightening world. The rot of injustice in our country runs deep, and in the past 6 months, we have seen an exhausting escalation of everything our faith tells us is wrong. Here's what I have seen: friends moving out of state, people afraid to leave their homes, justice workers burning out and dropping out, loved ones getting sicker and sicker. I bet we've all got stories in this room about 2025. I'm scared and I'm exhausted, and I bet you are too. Get your rest where you can. Take your time alone when you need it. And when you find yourself running to Midian, running into the wilderness, running beyond the wilderness, take heart, for in that unknown land, there is a fire which burns without consuming. There is a fire which burns without consuming, a sacred chalice of love which shines in the darkness, a sparkling reminder of the interdependent web of all existence, of which you and I and all things are a part. It will remind you that you are not alone, that it is not too late, that you can learn from the midwives and learn from your sister, that your brother can speak for you if you cannot speak for yourself. It will remind you that the impossible may happen. A bush may burn without being damaged, a staff may become a snake in the hands of a prophet, and our people will be free. I can protect you. You can protect me. And here we are together, and we cannot help but be together. The nature of all existence makes us inseparable. By this faith, we will be brave. By this faith, we may do the sacred work of justice. By this faith, when love itself calls us to justice, we will be able to speak the words of all the prophets who are called by God to free the people. Here I am. Thank you.
Thank you, Bis. That was wonderful. This month's Share the Plate recipient is our own facilities team. And this consists of our Maintenance and Repair Committee, the Grounds Committee, and the Green Sanctuary team. Hello. I admire these folks who magically are able to fix things instead of complicate things like I would if I was trying. I'm deeply, deeply grateful. Although money is provided in our annual budget for these committees, unexpected repairs can deplete this money quickly, especially in the maintenance and repair department. So that's why they're part of our Share the Plate program, so we can help with emergency stash of funds as needed. So funds donated to this month's Share the Plate will help supplement the facilities team budgets and ensure we have enough money to maintain our buildings and our grounds in a safe and sustainable way. To donate to facilities, you may place cash or checks in this offering right now, the offertory, or donate anytime today or this month by visiting our website at uusat.org. If you click on the donate button and then choose the Share the Plate option, that will get you there. Will the ushers please come forward? Thank you, Jaime. Will the ushers please come forward? We bless these gifts and we bless the givers. May it be so. Thank you, everyone. And now, please rise as you are willing and able for our closing hymn, number 104, When Israel Was in Egypt's Land.
All right, I've got a chalice extinguishing, and then I'll put it out, and then I got a blessing. I got two. The chalice extinguishing I want to use today in the spirit of remembering togetherness and connection is I want to share and use the chalice lighting I first learned at my home church in First UU Church of Austin. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we hold in our hearts until we are together again. May we always remember, I can protect you and you can protect me. May we bring love into the world one day at a time until we are all free. Go in peace.